What is going on, YouTube? So I sort of thought about this for quite some time, but I have been what do you call this? I've just been a bit worried about our future ahead of us for humanity itself, and just you know, um, religious beliefs. Um, I've just been concerned, have had anxiety, but I am back, so I am not even worried now that I've said it, but I think today is a very good day to film a video. So here we are. This is a completely different intro, and I am going to do another archives art video. But this time, yep, that's right, even more Universal Studios edition. To be more specific, Universal Studios Florida. We're going to Orlando, kids. So here it is. I think we might as well start with this. This is kind of a poster for the films alone. So they don't show you how you could ride the movies. They show you what the movies that they have that became attractions throughout the parks. So they have E.T., Jaws, Back to the Future, the Steven Spielberg produced and almost directed projects. You have the Ghostbusters down here. You know, the logo. Eventually, you soon after have Earthquake. You have Hanna-Barbera representation with the Flintstones. You have animal actors. You have Nickelodeon, Murder, She Wrote, King Kong. You just have a variety here, and I think the next one that we should start off with a big bang is E.T. Adventure. Now this is an attraction that's the only opening remaining day attraction at Universal Studios Florida, unlike its counterparts in Hollywood and Japan, which have since been defunct and closed ever since 2003 and 2009, those years respectively. Now, pretty much since this is the only opening day park attraction in Florida and the last version of this attraction, I think that I'm trying to preserve memories from this ride. You know, I'm hoping Steven Spielberg will have, you know, a contract negotiation when he passes away. But I mean, hey, at least for right now, the attraction is here to stay. Next up, 88 miles per hour. Yeah, but that is correct. Back to the Future, y'all. Back to the Future, the ride should have never been replaced by the Simpsons ride. You could have, at the very least, unlike Star Tours, update the graphics, but no. They completely decided to retheme everything, you know, completely paint the building to something different. And I mean, why? Why do you have to get rid of this such beloved attraction for everyone to see? You hop onto a DeLorean, like, come on. Like, isn't that a fun experience? Get to go into Doc Brown's time machine, and you get to uncover these areas. So you get to go to 2015, otherwise what's known as the fake future, and then you eventually go to the prehistoric age, aka like a foreshadow to Jurassic Park. You just have a bunch here. But I mean, I understand. I understand what Universal was going through this time, and it was difficult to get everyone back on board with this. Ghostbusters Spooktacular. So yeah, I think this is the end of like the 80s films that became attractions in the 90s. This was a show, unlike the previous two rides. This was a stage show that had, you had the four main leaders of the Ghostbusters, as they're fighting against all of the evil spirits and ghosts throughout the span of the films. So yeah, don't know what the reasons to why it closed in '96, but I'm assuming they were experimenting a little, which is fine. Now here's where we get into the '70s stuff. Earthquake, the big one. This no longer exists in Florida, but there is a tram part of it in Hollywood. I will uncover that in a bit once we get to the next attraction. But basically, you go on a San Francisco subway, and basically you get shaken. You get shaken violently, left and right, and then you see all these natural disasters happening. Well, you see stuff from this natural disaster happening, is what I'm trying to say. So basically, you get a lot, and yeah, this is Earthquake from 1990 till 2007. Here we go. Jaws. This was, at the time, the longest standing attraction before E.T. took its place. Obviously, this is no longer, its status is removed, and like I said, it is no longer in the Orlando Resort. However, you could check this out at Japan. So, glad that they preserved the history there, and basically, Jaws was such an amazing attraction. I mean, pretty much, it's hard to think that this attraction, lasted for 22 years. That includes the years that the ride has struggled, if anyone remembers the opening day of Universal Studios Florida. But I mean, it held up well. And, I wish it was still around. But at least we have one final version, and we still got the tram tour experience. Because the next one, unfortunately, it did not get the same fate as the past two attractions. Confrontation. Unfortunately, Confrontation is no longer an existing attraction. Its status is removed at Universal Studios Florida due to how it was so expensive and because of all the special effects, and so they had to replace it. They had to replace it in exchange for, what do you call this? They had to replace it in exchange for the Revenge of the Mummy roller coaster. So, I mean, pretty much we lost, one of the best attractions from opening day, is what I'm saying. And then there was a Hollywood counterpart as well. Well, I wouldn't say it was a counterpart because it was part of the tram tour, but I mean, what used to be at Hollywood is what you see now in New York. Now, pretty much what happened was that from 1986 till 2008, King Kong made the scene without, having to go 360 and be, next to two huge screens. But instead, it was all practical, and that's what was really fun about this. Unfortunately, the status is also removed within the Hollywood side of things as, Confrontation. It's just, the inspiration is dead because there was a fire in 2008 and it affected this building alone, and so we no longer got any representation of the old King Kong within anything. So I mean, it's sad to see, but I mean, hey, I hope that Universal learn from their mistakes, and next time they do something like this with practical effects, they be extra careful. Who remembers this show, Murder, She Wrote? Now, Murder, She Wrote was a show that I barely ever knew up until now. Apparently, this is a sort of drama series. I think it's as the name implies. Also, I have to pay respects to the main lead here, Angela Lansbury. So rest in peace. I know I'm a little late to that, but I mean, hey, she's a worldwide celebrity, so I have to pay respects for her. But I'm basically a follower of God. But anyways, yeah, this was an interesting show, at the very least. It definitely feels like it was something like an old production. That's for sure. Interesting fact, a lot of the episodes were shot nearby the Jaws Universal Studios Tram Tour experience in Hollywood, so that's a bonus. Unfortunately, if you were asking, no, this got replaced. Well, at first the building, it was just rotting away. Like, it was just rotting away soon after its replacement came and went. It, it was just rotting. The building was rotting all the way up until they demolished it due to the Environmental Protection Agency or Services, I think. You know, took it over, you know. So there you have it. This attraction closed in 1997, lasting 7 years. So it lasted longer than Ghostbusters did, but that's alright. Next up, the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera. This, I wish it lasted longer. I'm a huge fan whenever it comes to those Saturday morning cartoons, more specifically Hanna-Barbera. Now that MeTV Tunes is a thing, I wish I had a TV antenna, because they have stuff such as Woody Woodpecker. They have the Flintstones, you know, they have the Jetsons, Yogi Bear. They just have so much. They even have Dastardly and Muttley, which is upcoming very soon, possibly throughout the late fall, Dastardly and Muttley. But they have Wacky Races. They have, you know, Speed Racer, The Real Ghostbusters, the Beetlejuice cartoon, and Police Academy, the animated series during the night. And so they just have such the biggest library. And I'm glad that, like, you know, that is that. But I wish that Universal kept the licensing for the Hanna-Barbera attraction, because pretty much what happened was that once Hanna-Barbera went defunct in 2001, and once the co-founder Joseph Barbera died due to, you know, natural causes, and like he felt sick, especially with William Hanna, you know. Same thing with him. And once, you know, it got absorbed into Warner Brothers, that was it. They could no longer pay the licensing for it because it was owned by a third party. And even though Hanna-Barbera was a third party, it wasn't like an official studio third party. So unfortunately, this attraction closed in 2002, so only lasting 12 years, which is actually shocking. And this was during the time when, like, everything was being replaced. It was a very interesting time for Universal Studios, especially Florida, around this time. Next up, who remembers this? Nickelodeon Studios. Nickelodeon Studios was quite the hot thing until its closure. You know, from what I've heard around videos surrounding this attraction, due to the fact that like a lot of its production was being put in Hollywood. For example, Drake and Josh, you know, iCarly. There was barely anything being filmed here outside the game shows, so that's why I had to close. And so it's just disappointing to see that, like, Universal cannot keep their contracts up, and so that's what just is so sad about this. This attraction is just, it still exists like E.T. Though I have to admit, you know, we have two. This is one of the shows that's remaining for the park. Do we really need it? That's my number one question. In my opinion, no. But I mean, it's here to stay, I guess, for a little longer, because that brings so many nostalgic memories. Same thing when it comes to the Universal Orlando's Horror Makeup Show. The Horror Makeup Show is funny. I've seen this show, and it's just so gosh darn hilarious. It is funny. There is a lot of witty humor within this, in order to not make you too terrified and, you know, pee your pants and poop yourself in your underwear. So and you know, the crew behind they're very witty, you know. What's funny about this show is that they have a volunteer. They don't want to volunteer for each other, so they're like, that name. And so it's just funny. The jokes are, even though they're corny, they're funny at times. They're kind of like dad jokes, you know? Even though they're not funny, they could somehow be geniusly hilarious. And then finally, last but not least, Alfred Hitchcock, The Art of Making Movies. You have Norman Bates here from Psycho. It is black and white. There is nothing in the background because why would there be anything in the background besides a door? And then eventually got Norman Bates with a knife about to stab the lady within the shower. Most diabolical move ever. Invading their privacy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's horror, I guess. Alfred Hitchcock. This lasted until around the same time Hanna-Barbera closed. So this is like earlier or later, I think. But this no longer exists. It was once replaced by Shrek 4D, which, by the way, that attraction got replaced. So I have to pay respects to the meme himself. And then now we have more minions throughout the park. But I mean, this is cool to see. This is the world's first PG to 13 stage show, and so that alone really just tells me like Universal really respects their legacy. And so I think, in my opinion, they should have at the very least kept a few of these instead of like still having 3, and then the rest are removed and like demolished, ripped apart, and so it's just sad to see. But I mean, hey, this is classic Universal Studios, you know, they still have a bright future ahead of themselves, and so do we. So, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. And I shall see you next time with more of my art. Hang on, let me flip the camera. And like I said, I am so sorry for not posting throughout the past few days. It has been so close to a week ever since like I didn't post at all. I was just concerned with some stuff like you know, like a lot of hoax things, like, you know, the end of the world is coming, you know, like stuff like that. I was worried, you know, but thank goodness I am saved by the Lord, and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Because, you know, because I believe in all of them. And, you know, I was also worried about, like, the presidents, you know. I believe, yeah, it is Trump and Harris, for the future of presidential elections. And, you know, and none of that matters because, well, except for the God Jesus thing, because what matters is, you know, we will be saved by both of them and the Holy Spirit as well. You know, we will be saved by the ones who are saved by Jesus and God. And so there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I am, like I said, I am so sorry. I've just been having a lot of anxiety within myself throughout the past few days, and so I am, as of currently, back. So, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye.